The Austerity saddle tank is the most numerous type of locomotive in UK preservation, with around 70 in existence. The design of the Austerity goes back to 1941, when the Hunslet Engine Company of Leeds developed a class of 18-inch cylinder tank engines, the 50550 class. They had 18 by 26-inch cylinders, 4 foot 3-inch driving wheels, and thanks to their 170 psi boiler, had a tractive effort of 23,870 pounds. The saddle tank ran the full length of the boiler. 8 had been built by 1942, when the War Department wanted a design for a go-anywhere, do-anything locomotive to fulfil transport needs for the proposed invasion of Europe. Hitherto, locomotive production in Britain had been restricted to help the war effort, with most locomotive builders turning their hand to tanks and guns, but from 1943 building limits were off. So, 80 years ago, in mid-1942, the War Department specified this new standard shunting locomotive, capable of running on track of very poor condition, be capable of starting trains of 1,000 imperial tons on the level, 500 tons up a 1 in 100 gradient, and 300 tons up a 1 in 50 gradient. The Ministry of Supply suggested that the existing LMS Ginty design be the new standard locomotive, but Edgar Alcock, the chairman of the Hunslet Engine Company, disagreed and instead put forward a modified and simplified version of their existing 50550 class. This was because it was simpler to build and maintain, had a shorter wheelbase, and could run over very poor track. These specified locomotives were to have a working life of approximately 2 years. The new Austerity design was little changed from the 50550 class, other than a change in cab and bunker profile, which now extended beyond the rear buffer beam and had a vertical back. Wartime economy measures included the use of steel boiler tubes rather than brass, and plain phosphor bronze axle bearings. Where possible, components were to be welded and fabricated rather than cast. The first of these locomotives was steamed at Hunslet's in Leeds on the 1st of January 1943, and in total 377 of them were built by various manufacturers until 1947. After demob, 90 were kept for use by the British Army, 75 were sold to the London and North Eastern Railway, and 38 were sold or loaned to the Nederlandse Spoorwegen. So successful was the design that the National Coal Board had a further 77 built to run on its colliery lines between 1948 and 1964. The War Department ordered an additional 14 of them in 1952 to supplement its existing fleet, bringing the total up to 468. And if we include 2 Austerities built without the permission of the Ministry of Supply, then 470 were built in total. The NCB modified several of their Austerities in the early 1960s by fitting Giesel ejector multiple jet blast pipes. This was to try and reduce the emission of black smoke, which had been outlawed by the recent Clean Air Act. Whilst not necessarily a success in preventing black smoke, the Giesel ejector, however, did lower fuel consumption. Another means of preventing black smoke was designed by Hunslet themselves, which necessitated major modifications to the locomotives. These modifications involved the fitting of an underfeed mechanical stoker and replacing the fire grate with a stoker feed trough, and by having new grate sections and a larger brick arch. The unburned gases were consumed before leaving the exhaust stack by means of a special multiple jet blast pipe. This was accompanied by a very plain tapering chimney. The Hunslet Austerities are a design which is 80 years old this year, and as a design they are pretty much bomb-proof, the last ones being in use by the NCB in the early 1980s. Simple and rugged, they may not be particularly glamorous, but they are the backbone of many preserved railways. And with the impending coal crisis in the UK, perhaps the time has come for a simple to construct, easy to maintain, go anywhere, do anything locomotive, which will steam with a candle in the firebox and pull a house down. I hope you have enjoyed this episode, and if you have, do leave a comment below. Normal service will resume next week with more Victorian locomotives. Please also like, share and subscribe, and you can gain early access to Rail Story content through Patreon for as little as a takeaway cup of coffee once per month. And see you all next time on Rail Story.